I am from Nigeria. It's better to give you the true picture of what's going on. In Africa, we have terrorism challenges, insecurity challenges that are preventing farmers to even go to their farm. We have problem in Sudan, displacing people. We have problem of climate change, flooding, destroying crops. And we have problem of protectionism. We have problems. It is very important to make it clear and louder here. We have problem of out of school children. We have problem of funding free education or giving our children 1 meal a day in a classroom to even make them pay attention to school.
This is another missed opportunity for Tinubu to market Nigeria in front of 20 largest economies in the world. He's trying to make it an African problem. Not all African countries have problems of terrorism or millions of out-of-school children. Some of the things we see as luxuries in Nigeria are actually taken for granted in nearby countries in West Africa. People in Benin Republic, Togo, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire and most West African countries don't have to deal with their national grid collapsing every day, unlike in Nigeria where the national grid can collapse several times in a week. People who live in cities in Nigeria, in heavily populated areas, can go weeks without seeing electricity once in their lives. It's a daily occurrence in Nigeria, unlike in West Africa, where they have constant power that is reliable. Factories don't need to rely on generators or generate their own power or provide their own water in order to manufacture their products. The picture Tinubu presented to potential investors are all gloom and doom. No investor will come and invest in a place where there is serious insecurity. No one does that. Even anyone cannot get into a restaurant and see that the whole place is messed up, is smelly, there's dirt everywhere, and have the confidence to sit down there and take his lunch. No one does that, not to talk of investments that are worth millions or billions of dollars going into a place where you know that nothing works. There is serious insecurity. There are many ungoverned spaces in Nigeria where non-state actors are in control. The police, the army, no one goes there. This is a huge problem we have in Nigeria, and you expect people to come and invest in such a place. No one will come, and coming from the mouth of the chief marketer himself, no one can say it's propaganda or that the Western press are painting Nigeria or Africa bad. No, it is coming from the mouth of the person that is supposed to do anything within his power to bring investors or tourists, whoever is coming to bring money, foreign exchange to Nigeria. It is his job. When Nigerian citizens do this on the internet, they are hounded by supporters of the administration that they are demarketing Nigeria. But when Tinubu does it, they see it as he's telling the truth. No one tells the truth. You have to do anything in your power. Tell people what they want to hear. Just like expecting a marketer to tell you the truth. No, he will only tell you what will make you to buy his product. That's how it works. Telling the world that you're incompetent because you are bringing security issues to the world as if it is their responsibility to solve insecurity in your country. No, it is an internal affair. You have to deal with it. Because the buck stops at your table. You have to deal with all the insecurity, even the new ones that are forming in the northern part of the country. You have to deal with all of them. Not that crimes don't happen elsewhere, especially in Western countries. Crimes happen, but there is a difference. People have confidence that the police will arrive at a crime scene. In less than 5 minutes, people call the emergency line. Yes, even if they don't solve the crime immediately, there is hope. There is that confidence that they will solve the problem. Unlike in Nigeria, where crimes go unsolved, despite having video evidence, the people involved, the criminals, are let go. They are allowed to walk free by courts or the police. It happens all the time. Another hypocrisy to see in Tinubu's statement is the fact that he's aware of all the problems he enumerated in front of world leaders. So one wonders why he is prioritizing new presidential jet worth billions of naira, renovating presidential mansions in Lagos, in Abuja, in many places, buying new cars, new Escalade for his motorcade, tens of other cars he bought for Aso Rock alone, plus other frivolous spendings that shouldn't be the priority when he knows that Nigeria is under siege by terrorists and other non-state actors. If he knows that we have millions of out-of-school children, what has he done the past 18 months to solve the problem? Nothing at all. When you see their budget for education, you will think that Nigeria ranks high in the world in education. Even countries that rank that high, they still budget heavily for education because they know if they stop funding education, their achievement will drop. All what they have attained will continue dropping gradually. So they need to sustain it by making sure that they budget heavily for education. That's not obtainable in Nigeria. The amount they budgeted for the National Assembly car park alone is bigger than the budget of many federal universities combined. So you get the picture. They do not prioritize all that he has listed here. Despite the fact that insecurity didn't start just last year, it has been there for more than a decade. But for someone who really understands the link between insecurity and a prosperous economy, how insecurity hinders business and growth in the economy, they should have concentrated all their efforts in solving insecurity. People might argue that solving the security challenges in Nigeria must take time, that the government should be given enough time to solve it. No. The approach of Nigeria's security agencies, especially the army, is very strange. That's not how other countries handle insecurity, especially when they know that terrorists, hardened ones at that, are involved. They have all the equipment to solve this problem. They have all the fighter jets, drones, including armed drones. They have reconnaissance aircraft. They have everything. All they need is to gather intelligence and focus on the area where these people are embedded and make sure they give a chase. Not just striking them from the air. They need to strike the main targets and give a chase on the ground. That chase will never stop until all of them are caught, until they run away from Nigerian territory. That is how it is done. You do not start a chase and move back. No, you are giving them breathing space. You are allowing them to rearm and reinforce and come back and strike again. That way, it will never end. They seriously need to learn how others do it, or maybe, like many have insinuated, they are intentionally doing it because of security votes. When you solve security challenges, especially serious ones like terrorism, security votes will stop flowing into their pockets. Yes, it never gets accounted for. No one can be held accountable to come and say, how did you spend security votes? In Nigeria, it is classified. The executive branch is not allowed to disclose how they spent security votes. This is the greatest source of corruption in Nigeria. This is where politically exposed persons and elected officers steal Nigerian people's money. This is why Nigeria is underdeveloped. Even in 100 years, it will still remain the same unless serious reforms are made. Security votes are the serious motivator for any corrupt politician to seek office. He will do anything within his power, commit all sorts of illegalities to make sure he gets there because he knows that he can allocate any amount of money to security votes and he will never be held to account. No one will ever call him to order and say, come and explain to us how you spent these billions as security votes. Even the State Assembly or the National Assembly have no power to do that to the executive branch. That's why in some cases, they even create that insecurity in the first place to be able to budget money to fight the insecurity. We are going around in circles, and it's a surprise that Tinubu, in all the speech he made, he never talked about corruption. How can he not talk about corruption in governance in Nigeria and Africa at large? It is the major issue, not even insecurity. Corruption is the reason why many things are not working in Nigeria. When a budget is made, it is never implemented. About 50% of the money goes to private pockets as kickbacks to people in government, while the remaining, the contractor is forced to use it to build the project. So you can imagine when a project that is supposed to cost 1 billion naira, and at the end of the day, 500 million naira is only going to the contractor. No one gets value for such a project because instead of investing 1 billion naira on the project, only 500 goes to the project. So you are getting less despite spending more. So the takeaway from this outing is that Tinubu knows what he is doing. He knows all the problems Nigeria is facing, but he's not tackling the problems. He's not facing the problems. Rather, he's spending money on frivolities. Yes, how can he be aware that insecurity is ravaging Nigeria, hindering investment, stopping farmers from going to farms? But rather than tackle that as a national emergency, he's busy traveling around the world. All the travels they've made between them, Tinubu and Shettima, they've been outside Nigeria for more than 6 months, despite being in power for just under 18 months. They are not giving Nigerians any value despite spending billions of naira, if not dollars, on foreign travels. So it's official, his handlers cannot spin this. They know all the problems, but they are intentionally incompetent. They don't want to solve them. If you are the head of your family, what will be your priority? Buying a new car or making sure that your children have good education? Making sure that they eat healthy food? If your budget is limited, which one will you prioritize? Obviously, you will prioritize the health of your children, their education, instead of buying cars or living on frivolities.
What do I do to help the small-scale industry? The cost of funding is expensive. What do I do to get power to industrialize my country? The cost of funding is extremely expensive. The developed world need to extend these promises that you have heard here today. I must salute every one of you. But support the continent. The neglect of Africa is a danger to the rest of humanity. And we have to lift one another up. We have to build an inclusive economy that takes into account the population growth. In Nigeria, I have over 250 million souls. The fight against hunger and poverty is not a matter of choice, but a matter of priority for me.